Many recreational players have a hard time getting a rally started, and that is because they do not know how to properly feed the ball. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the right technique on the feed. First, let me show you the most common mistakes at the recreational level, and that is either feeding the ball with a Eastern forehand grip or a semi-Western forehand grip. So what happens when you feed a ball with these grips is that it's usually going to be too high. Now the other person has to hit a high ball to get the rally started, and it will usually not work. Or more commonly, what happens at the recreational level is that players will leave the feed too short, and now the other person has to reach and step up to the feed, and it's very difficult to get a rhythm in a rally that way. And some players will feed the ball with a backhand grip, and what happens when you feed with a backhand grip is that the ball will usually have side spin, and now it's going to be very tricky for the other person to get the rally started. What you must do is feed with a continental grip. This is going to give you the best chance to get a nice flat, straight ball with medium pace that's going to make it very easy for your partner to get the rally started. Position yourself in an open stance position when you're feeding. This is the most comfortable way to feed the ball. It's not necessary to be completely sideways. And now what you're going to do is, when you're in an open stance position and ready to feed, do not take a full backswing, because when you do that, usually the ball will fly too long. What you're going to do instead is point the tip of the racket towards the side fence, and then you're going to lay the ball in front of the strings and simply accelerate the racket across the body. And something very interesting happens when you do that. When the tip of the racket is pointing towards the side fence and you accelerate across the body, the tip of the racket will point back and your wrist will lag behind, the same way it does on a regular forehand. And this will take place without you being conscious of it. So when the tip of the racket is pointing here and I accelerate from this position, see, the tip of the racket ends up going back, and I'm not even aware that this action is taking place. Now, do not throw the ball too high, because then you'll have to wait for the ball to come down. This is overall going to make the feed more difficult. Simply lay the ball in front of your strings. You put your hand across the body and just let the ball sit there and then feed it. This is the easiest way to feed the ball. Just position your arm across, lay the ball up, and feed it to the other side. Now when it comes to your finish, I want you to point the tip of the racket towards the other side, and I want you to keep the finish on the feed relatively short. So it's not going to be a full finish like you do on a regular forehand. Simply go from here to here. This is all you need for your feed. The fascinating thing about the feed is that it's one of those shots that we don't practice. It's an intuitive shot. We simply pick up the ball and feed it to the other side. And it's logical to think that we should feed the ball in a linear way. In other words, going through the ball. But what happens in reality, if we do that, the ball will have a very difficult time in staying inside the court. It's very easy to spray the ball long if you hit through the ball. Like this. See, if I'm going through the ball, the ball goes very far. And now if I go across the body with my feet, I get a lot more control, and I don't even have to exert as much energy. See, my body is more comfortable. I don't have to reach forward towards the target. And high-level players do not think about this. We just simply pick up a ball and we hit across the body intuitively. But you as a recreational player must do this consciously, because this is a slower type of ball. You can control the arm action. I want you to simply have the hand go across the body after you meet the ball, and the tip of the racket should be lined up with your non-dominant shoulder and pointing straight towards the other side. It looks something like this. You're going to go across the body, and then you're going to stop the racket right here. If you follow these tips, your feed is going to have a lot more control. Your partner is going to shoot you less dirty looks if you send a bad feed their way, and you're going to have a more enjoyable hitting session.